Hi there, welcome back. This will be a continuation of the video prior to the last one. I want to mention, before moving on from having seen the otolaryngologist, a couple of, at this point, a couple of years prior, I think in 2019 or maybe late 2018, I don't like talking about this, but I had my issue with my jaw. It's really uncomfortable sometimes, very uncomfortable sometimes. The severity ebbs and flows, and on one night, I was just so distraught about the whole thing. I was experiencing massive discomfort in my jaw, and I was opening my mouth and just trying to relieve the discomfort, and I had opened it, I think, and I was pressing against it with my hands. I dislocated my jaw. I actually don't have any recollection after I woke up. I must have passed out from the pain. I don't know. That's not something that's ever happened before. It probably sounds insane. And I mention this only because it was something that I have been dealing with for a long time. The dislocated jaw. It was very painful. I couldn't really almost speak. It was very painful to speak. I preferred to simply not speak at all, but I had a job which required me to speak. I would go deaf out of it's on my right side that's dislocated. I would go deaf for days or weeks, just due to the swelling in my ear, because it's so close to that jaw. It was just a really big problem, and but I was always afraid of going to a doctor, because what I was worried about was if whatever procedure, I don't know exactly what the procedure is for. There may be different procedures depending on the doctor or the severity of the dislocation. I'm really not quite sure. I don't know a whole lot about it, but what I was concerned about was if they, whatever procedure they used to fix that, if they put me under with general anesthesia, that I would, maybe people reveal a lot under general anesthesia when they're coming out of it. I feared that the doctors, this is assuming that I'd be capable of speaking after this, I don't think it's an operation, but whatever procedure it is. Assuming I was able to speak, I was worried that the doctors might start asking me some questions, and I might reveal that the nature of the dislocated jaw, that I had accidentally done it to myself, and then also that I was trying to relieve the sensation, which was caused by this thing that nobody believed was happening to me. And what I feared was that I would end up being committed to a psychiatric hospital, and under anesthesia I wouldn't be able to advocate for myself. I probably wouldn't be able to speak very clearly. I was worried about, I feared the worst, that I would be committed, and if I was heavily dosed with medications, I wouldn't be able to advocate for myself, and I had no one to trust to get me out of that situation. So the reason I mention this is because during the summer of 2020, I sought out a psychologist, not a psychiatrist, but a psychologist. The reason I did this was because I wanted to build a rapport with someone in the field so that I could have someone to advocate for me if my worst fear came true, which was having this procedure done to fix my dislocated jaw and being committed. I spent about a month with this woman, I think 4 or 5 one-hour sessions, and I explained everything. And on the last session, I said, so can you help me? All I need for you to do is, if that were to happen, if I were to be committed, I just want someone on the outside that can bear witness to it and make sure that I'm okay. I don't want to get lost in this system. And she refused. She was unwilling, and she said that my concerns were valid. She said there is it's not a large chance that could happen, but there is a chance. So my concerns weren't, and I understood that there may be a small chance, but I really wasn't willing to gamble with that small chance. So she did validate my concerns, and she also said, I don't present as someone with some sort of psychological disorder, but to almost quote her verbatim, she said, but anyone can pull it together for a 1-hour session. So essentially implying that I very well something could be terribly wrong with me psychologically, and I was pulling it together for those 1-hour sessions in order to mask some kind of delusional state that I was in. And she was unwilling to help, and all I wanted was for someone to advocate for me. It didn't seem like a big ask for me, but she wasn't willing. And so to this day, I still have a dislocated jaw, and it's very difficult to deal with. I think about it all the time. It's always there. I have had to alter the way I speak. I don't move my mouth as much. Eating was a big problem for a long time. Over the years, it has become easier. Not easy, but easier. And this is just one more thing that I can mark down on a long list of reasons that I have such a mistrust for the medical field. I have been so mistreated by this field, by people in this field, and there has been such a significant lack of empathy at best, and what seems to be a persistent and sadistic nature of a lot of people in this field. If I were her, if I putting myself in her shoes, I never would have turned someone down asking for that. So I just wanted to say that happened during that summer, and so now going beyond having seen this otolaryngologist, I am at this point where the damage has been done. I have been the fear of having to be without a CPAP and be subjected to this horrible dizziness has done a number on me psychologically. It's undermined all of the work that I had done for decades with this vertigo. And I was now trying to survive what this vertigo had become, which was just this monster. And I had in my initial video that you likely have seen, and if you have stuck through this whole thing, I do appreciate it, because there are many videos in at this point. I'm not going to go through much of this. I don't like talking about it. I would like to just try to forget about it. I don't like having it in. think the best therapy for me with this would be to just never think about it again. And I've had to hold it close to me to be able to tell this story. And but during that time, I had to make deals with my mind. It was the only thing I could think of doing to protect myself from its effects on me. It would happen mostly at night when I'd go to sleep. So I would perform these acts. It would eventually, after I did some research, what people with OCD do is they perform what they consider rituals. So we can call them rituals. Though I didn't have OCD, I wasn't compelled to do this. This was a thoughtful act on my part to try to make a deal with my mind, because this is a psychologically driven, condition that I had. And it began to rule me. It ruled my life. I was spending hours a day. It was affecting everything. I needed money at the time. This was during the COVID lockdowns. I didn't have the energy or the mental capacity. I was sick to continue doing my own work for my business. As much as I did, I had pulled back from that a lot. And what I wanted to do was work for someone else, just punch a clock, think as little as possible, because I was dealing with so very much. And I applied at a hardwood supplier, a place that I had gone over the years. And I liked the guys that worked there. Anyway, I applied there, I got the job. Now, what I had intended for this, the way I presented to them was, I'm looking, if they need a hand in the wood shop, I'd like to do some woodwork for them. And initially what the plan was that I was going to help the woodworker out there, and I'd only come in 2 or 3 days a week. And that was perfect for me, because I really, I needed to be focusing on trying to get better. I was really dealing with this monster of a problem with this vertigo, that I fully, it was the fault of this otolaryngologist and my doctor. I found out later, doctors can just prescribe CPAPs also. But anyway, I was dealing with this. It was the reality of the situation. I got on work with this hardwood supplier, and the first day I arrived to meet with the woodworker and start working with him, he notified me that he was likely to leave, maybe even that day. He had put in his resignation. He was waiting for word from it was a drug test that he had taken for a potential job. He expected fully to pass the drug test, so he would be leaving any day now. And that would leave me fully responsible for the wood shop. And that's not what I wanted. But I needed the job, and so I took on the responsibility. I became their sole woodworker there. I worked for this place for about 2 years, I think, overall. I had been at work there for a week or two, not very long at all. And it turns out my Dave, the property manager, was he was a regular customer. I didn't realize that. He was a regular customer at this place. I saw him one day. I just begun working there. I was in the showroom, so all the guys were in there. The people who worked in that portion. There weren't many of us that worked in this place. Dave came in, and Dave and I were not on good terms. Hadn't been on good terms for a very long time. And he said to the folks there, he goes, "You let this guy work for you?" Now, that can be potentially taken as a joke. People will that is not uncommon for people to say who are friends, and they'll say, well, you let this guy work for you? But that's not what it was. Dave and I didn't joke around like this, and I didn't know how those guys took it. It didn't sound like a joke, and it wasn't a joke, because Dave was fully serious about this. And I thought, you've got to be kidding me. This guy, now I'm going to be seeing this guy where I work, and he's potentially, it's not good for my, it plants a seed in these people who don't know me very well, who I'm now working with. It puts a seed in their thought process that potentially I am, they've made a mistake by hiring me. And it really bothered me that he said that. But what was said was said. I hurt myself. I didn't hurt myself. I had, shortly after working there, within about a month or so, I developed what's called trigger finger. And I won't go into detail about this. If you're interested, you can look it up online. But essentially, it's you lose mobility of one or more of your fingers, because the tendons, the sheathing around the tendon becomes constricted and reduces movement, sometimes locks fingers in place. I was suffering from this, and it was causing a really big problem. Unfortunately, it happened very soon after I started working there. I was out of work. I was out of work within about a month and a half or so of working there, and I felt terrible. And I was accepted by workers' comp. It turns out, skipping ahead, I found out this was a condition of my autoimmune disease. Trigger finger is something that happens with people with autoimmune disease. I think that it was very much the motions that I was doing with my hands, plus this autoimmune disease was exacerbating it. But I had worked with my hands my whole life, and very strong hands, very strong. And this should never have happened, but it is common with woodworkers. It wouldn't have happened with me had I not had autoimmune disease, I think. I think that's a very safe assumption. But we didn't know this going into workers' comp. This was never a consideration. I was accepted by workers' comp, but I was not. They didn't pay me. The woman that was on my case was lazy. She didn't do her work. I had to do almost everything for her. I shouldn't have had to do anything at all. Just simply, they do an investigative line of questioning to determine whether or not you're eligible for workers' comp at the beginning. After that, I should not have had to do anything at all. This dragged on for over a year. I never was paid by workers' comp. I got another agency involved. It was a state-funded agency. A gentleman who had I ended up being in contact with a lot, and the woman who was on the case apparently had problems in the past with other claims. People had filed reports or complaints about her because of similar instances not getting paid. And I spent a whole lot of time doing this woman's work, and then dealing with this other organization, with this gentleman, trying to get my money. And I want to stress, this is not because my claim was denied. That's not the case. They were it was just tactics they were constantly doing to try to keep my money as long as possible. Eventually, this woman who was on the case left. This went on for so long, she found a job somewhere else, which further complicated the entire thing. I never got my money for that. I at this time was also dealing with car insurance theft. I had a truck. vehicle insurance theft. My insurance was about $80 a month. It was full coverage, and I found one day that I had no money in my account, and my rent check was about to go through. I should have had about $1,000 in there or something. And what had happened was I called up my insurance company because I noticed two large payments amounting to nearly $800 over the course of 30 days that had been taken out. This is important for everybody to know. I phoned my insurance company, and I expected this to be the result of a mistake. What I found was that the first person I spoke with knew exactly what I was talking about. And they said that, we gave you a notification of that. And I didn't know what she was talking about, or he, I forget who. Without going through all of the details, this is the origin of this. They had put someone else on my insurance plan, a stranger. Turns out, after a whole line of questioning, this person may not have even existed at all. Story was, this girl, she was a teenager. I think she was 16 or so. She had just received her license, had been put on my plan because they said that a third party had notified them that this person at some point throughout history had received mail at my residence. She was put on my insurance plan, and her insurance was almost $400 a month. So they had charged me for $380 something the previous month, and then 30 days later another $380 something, amounting to nearly $800 in a 30-day period of time. I had to make sure I had to take off of work, go to the bank, put money in my account, get on the phone, try to figure this all out. These insurance folks framed this as, excuse me. Firstly, they said, we sent you an email that told you all about this. I said, well, I never received an email about this, and nothing is to be done to my insurance account. Certainly no one is to be placed on my vehicle insurance without my authorization. They said, well, you authorized it. My lack of action was essentially tantamount to authorization. So on the phone, I asked them when the email was sent. While I was on the phone with her, I looked at all my emails, and I found the email that they were talking about. The email looked like a spam email, and it said something like, "Congratulations! What an exciting time!" So on and so forth. An email that I completely disregarded as spam, as any normal person probably would. Had I opened that email, that would have apparently revealed the details. I ended up trying to get my money back for weeks or months. And every single person that I spoke with framed this situation as me being selfish for not wanting to do something for this person who was had been put on my plan. That this person, that they thought they were offering me the gift of giving that gift to this girl, this complete stranger, who very likely might have been a figment of, this person may not have ever existed at all. They didn't have any information on this woman, on this girl. Anyway, this was extremely upsetting, and I spent a very long time and many, many phone calls. And the entire time, every single person I spoke with, getting deeper and deeper into this insurance company, always framed it as me being selfish by not wanting to insure this other person. I was furious and I was dumbfounded. This was, I don't like this term because it's become so popular. I think it sort of loses its meaning, as do a lot of words and language. But this is I'll use this term because it is, I think it's pretty appropriate here in this context. This is an example of a company gaslighting its customer, and we have I'm just going to say it. I'm not going to preach during these videos, but we have a population that has been so accustomed to appealing to authority and not questioning anything, that something that is seemingly so obviously illegal. This is theft in my opinion. People are satisfied by an absolutely ridiculous justification, which in this case their justification was, we thought we were doing something nice for you. We were giving you the gift of doing something nice for someone else. Anyway, it took me a very long time to get that money back, and it should be unacceptable to everyone. And I have a suspicion that this is done to people, that this is not done to people who are above a certain socioeconomic status, because they have, this is a suspicion that I have. And I suspect that these insurance companies are fully capable of figuring out if someone is having or on the brink of having some financial problems, and that this may sound conspiratorial, but they're fully capable of doing this with the with algorithms and the technology that's available, to find people of a certain socioeconomic status who are vulnerable and will have a hard time fighting, spending the time fighting to get their money back. I think it's fully possible that these insurance companies prey upon people who are already suffering from financial hardship, and they pack on, they steal from them, making it very likely that they will they'll fail. They will actually slip through they will it will be a slope into financial ruin, and they're easy targets. I know it's certainly worthy of investigation, I think, as a lot of things are. Don't be afraid to question things. Yeah, I wish I were in a position to be able to I wanted to be, I would have liked to do investigative journalism, had I had the resources and time to do that. But and this is something I certainly would have looked into. During this time, Dave bought the building. Dave purchased the building I was living in from the landlord. I received a letter, and I knew that, I didn't know, but I had a feeling that meant some potentially very bad things. The letter I'll paraphrase because I don't have the letter. It's been a long time, but it stated something that would sound very probably appealing, or a complete lack of malicious intent to people who didn't know Dave. But the letter said something about, we want to make some positive changes around here, and it did say it's not going to affect your rent situation. So I'm like, okay, he's not going to evict us. But I was very concerned about what would happen, and I was right. There was just a cascade of really. There were a lot of consequences for us, and me specifically, as a result of him buying that building. I'll get into that in the next video. I won't spend too much time, but just about to wrap this all up. We're finally just about there. I know it's taken a whole lot of time. There's so much I haven't revealed here, due to trying to bridge the divide between losing people who are just there may be no one left. I may be making these videos completely in vain, and no one's going to watch them. I feel I just have to. I have to have this story, elements of this story, out there to as a defense in my of the things that have been said about me, and just as a to show that I've been, that there were an entire huge amount of circumstances that were outside of my control, and just far too many things that I had to deal with, and I was just buried by it, and it has resulted in the situation I'm in now. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking. I'm not happy with the way this video has gone. It's 32 minutes of content, and I'm probably just gonna leave it. It's too much to redo. But thank you anyway. I know I say that often, but I mean it. Thank you for watching these. It means a lot. I'll see you in the next video.